my tears away. And I've felt the pain of heartbreak, and I've seen the brighter day. And I've prayed prayers to heaven from my lowest place. And I've held your blessing, God, you give and take away. No matter what I have, your grace is enough. No matter where I am, I'm standing in your love. On the mountain, I will bow my life to the one who set me there. In the valley, I will lift my eyes to the one who sees me there. When I'm standing on the mountain, I didn't get there on my own. When I'm walking through the valley, I know I am not alone. You're God of the hills and valleys, hills and valleys, God of the hills and valleys. I am not alone. I've watched my dreams get broken. In you I hope again. No matter what, I know I'm safe inside your hand. On the mountain, I will bow my life to the one who set me there. In the valley, I will lift my eyes to the one who sees me there. When I'm standing on the mountain, I didn't get there on my own. When I'm walking through the valley, I know I am not alone. You're God of the hills and valleys, hills and valleys, God of the hills and valleys. I am not alone. Father, you give and take away every joy and every pain. Through all you will remain over it all. Father, you give and take away every joy and every pain. Through all you will remain over it all. On the mountains I will bow my life. Yeah, in the valleys I will lift my eyes. Yeah, my life to the one who set me there. In the valley I will lift my eyes to the one who sees me there. When I'm standing on the mountain, I didn't get there on my own. When I'm walking through the valley, I know I am not alone. You're God of the hills and valleys, hills and valleys, God of the hills and valleys. I am not alone. And I'm God of the hills and valleys, hills and valleys, God of the hills and valleys. I am the God of the valleys, and I will choose to say, blessed be your name, and I am not alone. Another voice, another choice to listen to words somebody said. Another day, I replay one too many doubts inside my head. Am I strong, beautiful? Am I good enough? Do I belong after all that I've said and done? Is it real when I feel I don't measure up? Am I loved? I'm running to the one who knows me, who made every part of me in his hands. I'm holding to the one who holds me, 'cause I know whose I am, I know who I am. I am sure I am yours. Turning down, tuning out every single word that caused me pain. Unashamed and unafraid, 'cause I believe you mean it when you say
Good evening, Lufkin Central and online worship community. My name is Jason Hollinger. I'm the preaching and community minister here, and tonight we continue our series through episodes titled How to Read the Bible. Last night we looked at the characters within a narrative, and tonight we look at the setting, and it's not just so much understanding what takes place, who's a part of it, what happens, all those things. It's also important for us to understand the setting, where it takes place. We're going to talk about that right after this time in worship.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe. Oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe. The only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I
In every story you've ever heard, the action took place somewhere, and that place is called the setting. And since we've been learning how to read biblical narratives, let's talk about how settings work in the Bible.
So, settings are a crucially important tool in the hands of the biblical authors.
Really?
Yeah, think of it this way. When you start a story, everything is new. The plot and the characters are a mystery until things unfold.
Yeah, we have no idea what to expect.
Except, authors can use the setting of a story to prepare you for what's coming.
How so?
Well, let's say a story begins in a courtroom. What do you think is going to happen?
I expect a story about crime and justice.
Yeah, or how about the setting of a dark, old, rundown house?
Oh, something scary is about to happen.
Exactly. So settings evoke memories and emotions because of other stories you know that happened in similar places. The authors know this, and they can use settings to generate expectations about what could happen in this story. And a good author will get creative with settings, and he'll mess with your expectations in order to make a point.
This happens in the Bible?
All over the place. For example, think about the setting Egypt in the Bible.
Yeah, big Middle Eastern empire on the Nile.
Sure. Now think about the first biblical story where someone ends up in Egypt. It's about Abraham. God calls him to journey by faith to a new land, and he promises to give him a huge family. So he sets out, but he arrives during a famine. Now, is he going to trust God and stay in the promised land? Or will he leave the land and go look for food on his own?
Yeah, Abraham leaves and goes down to Egypt.
And there, in Egypt, things go downhill fast. Abraham denies that Sarah is his wife to save his own neck, and then Pharaoh tries to marry her for himself.
Okay, first impression of Egypt, not a great place to visit.
But God then rescues them. He strikes Egypt with plagues, and so Pharaoh relents and sends Abraham away with loads of wealth. So, what do we learn about Egypt as a setting from this story?
It's the place people end up because of stupid decisions, but it's also a place where God comes and rescues his people.
Yep, and the next main story in Egypt follows the same pattern. Abraham's great-grandsons make a bunch of stupid choices, and they eventually lead them to Egypt because of another famine.
Down in Egypt, uh-oh.
So generations pass, and the family ends up as slaves in Egypt, and what do you think's gonna happen?
God's gonna send some plagues and rescue his people.
It's like he saw it coming. After the Israelites get back to the Promised Land, God tells them to never go back to Egypt for any reason. It's the place of trouble and oppression.
So when future biblical characters go to Egypt, I'm supposed to cringe.
Right. Like Solomon, at the peak of his wealth and power, he married the king of Egypt's daughter, and then he started sending Israelites there to import Egyptian stallions. And then, a generation later, that alliance goes bad. Egypt oppresses Israel all over again.
So biblical settings carry with them all these memories of previous stories, which create expectation.
Yeah, it's a brilliant literary device to infuse stories with meaning. Now, biblical authors, they're brilliant. They can build up your expectations, but also creatively mess with them.
Like how?
Egypt's a perfect example. In the Gospel of Matthew, when Jesus is born, his family flees to Egypt.
Uh-oh, so this is a problem.
You would think so, but pay attention. Instead of Egypt being the bad place, it's the place of safety. Because who are they fleeing from? King Herod, who is behaving exactly like Pharaoh did, but he rules Jerusalem, not Egypt.
Matthew is messing with me to show how Jerusalem has become Egypt.
Exactly. You can find these kinds of patterns in many different biblical settings. Babylon, Moab, the wilderness, Bethlehem. The list goes on.
Which is a big list.
And it gets bigger, because sometimes the setting isn't just a place on a map. It's a type of situation, but they work the same way that settings do. For example, when people move toward the east, expect trouble. Adam and Eve were banished to the east, and then Cain wanders to the east.
People moved to the east to build Babylon.
And all of these narratives are designed to point forward to when the Israelites as a people will be exiled to the east in Babylon.
Ah, nice.
Which leads to one more type of setting in biblical narrative, and that's time, or how long events take. Like, time periods of 40 are often associated with stories where people's faithfulness is tested. Noah in the boat for 40 days and 40 nights. Then he gets off and gets totally drunk. The Israelites got impatient during their 40 days of waiting for Moses on Mount Sinai, so they made the golden calf. Or after the Israelite spies investigate the land for 40 days, the people rebel, so they have to wander in the desert for 40 years.
But then there's the story of Jesus, who was tested in the desert for 40 days, and he reverses the expectation. He overcomes the test.
Exactly. Across the whole Bible, places, situations, and time periods become full of meaning by evoking memories and setting expectations. And the New Testament authors reuse all of these settings to show how Jesus is the one carrying our world from the garden, out of Egypt and the wilderness, and into the new creation.
Thank you again for joining us tonight. And again, the last couple of nights, we've looked at within the narrative style of writing, the characters within them, and understanding the setting and why that's important. Imitate the humility and the surrender of the characters, and understand where things take place and what God is doing, and that ultimately God sent Jesus so we can go back to that garden relationship someday with him. And as I mentioned also on Monday night, that we will take a break tomorrow night, tomorrow being Wednesday. In our evening devotionals, we will pick back up with the episodes of How to Read the Bible on Thursday night. But tomorrow night, we are in the lesson number 3 of the series titled Strangers, one led by Chris Seidman of the Branch Church. He's the lead minister there. And tomorrow night's lesson is titled Stranger Things, and it's going to be looking at 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 15 through 23. As we begin to close out tonight, we want to show you just a little snippet, if you will, of tomorrow night's lesson. Y'all have a great night. God bless.
It is amazing how much others around us can influence how we see the world, who's good and who's bad, and how we treat others in light of that. And when you're little, you eventually have to grow up when it comes to learning to how do I live with and treat people who think differently than me. And there are times when we need direction when we're little. Stories like this are funny when you're talking about 8-year-olds. They're not as much when you're talking about 28-year-olds, 38-year-olds, or 48-year-olds. Because I think we all know you can be an adult and still need to grow up. There's a lot of people who grow old, but they never grow up in the right ways that they need to grow up. When's the last time someone told you as an adult, grow up? I've been thinking about that phrase, grow up. Because as we come to this next chunk in our journey through 1 Peter, we are going to read a passage that has these words, grow up, in them. We're going to read the whole passage we're walking through here in the next few moments. But at the very end, the words grow up come up, and the words grow up are really a summary of everything before it that you're reading.
I'm giving it all away. No more hiding, no more stalling. I hear you calling me, and I'm coming. See me running, and I give in. You win. I'm giving in. You win. Oh.
I try, but I just can't keep this thing to myself. Left high and low when I know ain't nobody else. But I'm focused now when I know it's all about you. You always see me through, that's what you do. And tell me where would I go and where would I be? Love's hard to find, but you blindly losing your way. And I ain't nobody else for me, it's just you. You got my time all the time, every time my mind's on you.
No more hiding, no more stalling. I hear you calling me, and I'm coming. See me running, and I give in. You win. I give in. You win.
They laugh at me and they say I'm going too far. But it's satisfying my soul to give you my all. They don't understand what I got is so real. They can talk about me, they can kick me out, but can't take away what you give. People telling me that I'm probably too far gone, but they don't understand what I got and ain't walked the roads that I walked on. Tell me who I'm gonna call on, whose solid ground could I fall on? Yeah, everything that I never dreamed of, you give me meaning, it's all on you. You know you got me deep off in this thing I'm all in. I swear ain't no love like this love that I've been given. I can't resist, it's just too much, your love is endless. And I don't care what they say, no more, no way, I give in you.